So I'm just gonna start off with some basic questions, and then we can just kind of go from there. So to start off, how old are you, and where are you from?
I'm 22 years old. I'm from South Carolina.
Okay. What part of South Carolina are you from? Like what city?
I'm from a town called Rock Hill, but I don't currently live there anymore. I'm actually in a different area for school, but I just graduated, so I'm kind of done with that. So I may be moving out of South Carolina soon, hopefully.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about you going to college because you are probably one of the only producers that I've interviewed or just talked to in general that is even going to college or even went to college.
Yeah, yeah.
So where did you go to college?
I went to a school called USC Upstate. It's basically like USC Gamecocks, like University of South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
It's a satellite version of that, like a different campus in a different city.
Okay. What is your degree in?
Graphic design.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, do you make all the graphics that I see that you post then?
Yeah, I've pretty much done everything as far as my artist album. I did Smooth the Narrows album cover, DOA 2. I did Wave 1 my album. I created that cover. I've probably done every cover on my SoundCloud as well. I've got a lot more coming. I haven't done too much personal work for myself, just simply because I've spent most of my time doing a lot of schoolwork as far as my design work goes. But I'm going to start to do more as 2018 comes about.
Do you get a lot of people paying you for graphic work, or is that kind of just like you don't really get a lot of people hitting you up for that?
I don't have a lot of people hitting me up for that because a lot of people really don't even know that I actually do it or even went to school for it. Like I don't think a lot of people realize that. I also don't make it known and advertise it a whole lot anyway.
I mean, because that's a whole other income stream that you kind of missing out on.
Yeah. I've thought about going and pursuing it and really pushing it, being that I did go to school for it and I paid to go to school for it. I just have.
Oh yeah.
I just haven't really put it all the way out there yet. I kind of want to fine tune my skills in that area first, and then really start to push it.
So, my question for that is, did you start making beats when you were already in college, or did you go to college already making beats and you just went for something else as a backup plan?
I actually started making beats, I think, my freshman year. I went to a different school my freshman year. It's it was a 2-year school, and I went there for just one semester to try to get some like my regular basic classes out the way, and that's kind of when I started making beats. But I wasn't using like FL Studio like I am now. I was using Logic at the time, and it was just kind of playing around with it and trying to figure it out. And I actually started in college. It was about my freshman year. I think it was actually the year that I graduated in 2013, that summer, going towards freshman year is when I kind of began looking into it and trying to figure out how to make beats.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, knowing all that, do you think that if you started making beats younger, because some of these dudes are coming up like 15, 16, making beats on like a semi-professional, some of them actually on like a really professional level. If you had started making beats earlier on, knowing how far you kind of gone with it now, do you think you still would have gone to college or not really?
Honestly, that's really hard to say, man. I really can't. I can't give an answer to that. It could, because you never know. Like I could have started earlier and never needed to go to school or anything like that, or felt the need to go to school, or I could have just done exactly what I did and it still happened the exact same way. So it's hard to say. Had I started to see things were beginning to change and become different, and I started sooner, I think I'd be in a little bit different position, but I can't really necessarily say better, because I actually learned a lot of stuff from school that actually helped me in making beats and things like that. So it depends. It could have gone either way, man, to be honest.
I get you. So you said that you yourself paid for school. Did you have to take out any loans or anything, or was that just all just money that you were able just to scrape together and pay out of pocket for?
No, when it came to school, I actually got a lot of scholarships. That's what really helped me. I got pretty much scholarships, and my school wasn't very expensive as well. Anyway, because it was a smaller satellite school as opposed to going to the larger branch of USC. So that helped me out. But a majority of my schooling was paid through scholarships. I did get some personal student loans, but I'd probably say more than half of it was easily paid for with scholarships that I received.
Oh, okay. Yeah, wow. So you were in college when your beats started kind of getting to where they were getting to a level where bigger people were starting to use them,
Yep.
and you were getting kind of a higher demand. Did that was that beat money kind of putting you through school, or did you have like an extra job or have to take extra jobs on the side to get by? Because I mean, like student loans only go so far because that'll pay for your tuition, and then you got to worry about you know food and other things and other expenses.
Yeah, when I was in school, I was actually for like the first year I was in. Well, the first year that I was in school, my freshman year, I worked at a different job, and then I transferred. And when I transferred to this on-campus school, that's when I started to that's when I started to work at a different job and move somewhere else. And I started working at Chick-fil-A. Actually, I was actually there.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, that was my sophomore year. It was my first year being on the campus, but my second year being in college. I started working at Chick-fil-A, and then I quit that and worked at the CAF, like in my school from that year to my junior year, which was the third year I was in college. And then in my junior year, I just completely stopped working, and I haven't worked since then. Like even to this day, I haven't worked.
So at that point, did you just stop working because it just didn't make any sense at all? Or was it a situation where you had been able to quit, you had been able to stop working for a while, but you were just like, it's just extra money, but then it just got to be like, well, why? Like, why even do that if I'm making this much money off of just people buying beats?
Okay. The reason, well, I stopped working number one because it was taking up a lot of time with my like trying to focus on school and do music. And school is pretty important to me. My mom's a teacher, so she kind of instilled being that education was important. And so working, I noticed that I would spend a lot of time. Like I'd immediately get out of class, go to work, and then come back home around like 10 o'clock and begin doing schoolwork. And it kind of like I didn't like that schedule. So that was one reason why I stopped. And then the second reason was because I'd work for 2 weeks, like 3 or 4 days, 5 days a week, and get like a regular basic check, and then I could just sell one beat and it would be my check and then some. So it was like it began to seem pointless to me for what I was trying to do and what I wanted to do.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely know how that goes because I actually went to college for a year, and that's very much how it is. It gets to a point where some days you literally don't even have time to barely do what you're supposed to be doing. Like you're trying to like get up early and go before class and do the schoolwork before class, and it's like, man, it's like this is like stressful as hell. Especially like you said, because you ever have a job where they'll say, oh yeah, we'll work with your schedule and all this and this and this and that, but they give you way more hours than you said that you wanted, which is good because of the money, but it's bad because like
I wasn't able to work that. Like I told you what I could work.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, man, they be scheduled. Man, I remember this one place I worked at. They like scheduled me to work when I had class. I'm like, yeah, I can't work this day. I got class this day. Well, we'll see if we can change it. We'll see if we can change it. I won't be here. So
Yeah. When I was working in the CAF, I had a situation like that. And the thing is, the CAF was a school job. Like, I gave them my schedule, so they knew. They just, I guess they didn't really care. It was like I would get out of class at like 2 o'clock, for instance, and they're asking me to be in work at 2:30.
What? Man, how ridiculous is that the cafe that's at the college won't work with your college schedule?
Yeah, they were willing to work with it a little bit. Like at one side, they kind of realized like that's only 30 minutes in between them. Like I'd literally have to be walk to my car, get dressed, in the car and then immediately get out the car and go on to work right after class, like fresh out of class too.
Yeah, yeah, I've had it where I used to have two jobs, and what it would be, I think it was like 8 to 2, and then I had another job that was like 3 to 9 or 10 or something like that. But with the drive and everything, I would literally have to change at that job. Like, it would end my shift at 2, and then I had to go and change right then and there, because by the time I got to the other job, I had to just like run in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked two jobs while I was there, and one of the jobs was in my hometown, and one job was at where I was going to school. So on the weekends, I'd be going back home to work at the other job.
Man, wow. So, did you live on campus most of the time while you were there, or did you just like commute?
No, well, see, where I go to, all right, it's a bit confusing. The first year I went to school was probably 30 minutes away from my actual hometown, so I drove to that place, and it was also another satellite USC. It was just closer to home. I went there for a year, finished up my classes. Then my second year, that's when I went to a different school in a different city, and that's I lived on campus for 2 years, and then my fourth year, my senior year, I moved off campus and I've been living in an apartment, and I've lived here for like a year and a half now. I actually had like an extra semester of college, so I actually went to college for like 4 years and then one semester.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I asked you about the student loan thing beforehand because that is really getting to be a problem with a lot of people, man, because people are coming out of college with $60,000, $80,000 in loans, and they're our age, because like I'm 21, you're 22, they're our age coming out of college with $80,000, sometimes $100,000 in loans, and their degree is like a business degree.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you really going to be making all that much money to where you're going to pay that off? Because you can't declare bankruptcy on that shit either.
No, you gotta pay it off. That's gonna follow you. Like, the way that they really get you with school debt is like, it's not really, I can't really say school debt. School is a finesse in a way, but for what you're trying to do to better yourself, like, why should I be paying that much to try to be a better person? And then on top of that, they get you with like, oh, we're gonna make your payments really cheap. You just have to pay for it for the next 25 years with this much interest. That kind of, like, who wants to pay the same, like, pay for something for 25 years?
Mm-hmm, exactly. And they have these things called income-based repayment, and the reason they have that is because if they didn't have it, there's a lot of people that they wouldn't be able to make their payments, because let's say you rack up $100,000 in debt. There are people that are paying $1,200, like the minimum payments are $1,200 a month. $1,200 a month is literally all of the income you would bring home from a $10 an hour full-time job. There are a lot of people that cannot get jobs, and they just wouldn't be able to make the payments if they didn't have the income-based repayment. But when you do that, the interest and all that still kind of builds up. It gets to a point where you're making minimum payments and your balance is actually going up, not going down.
Yep. It's just a way, you really just got to figure out how you're going to work school and maneuver in school. I suggest people, like, I'm not suggesting that everybody goes to school to be successful or anything or do what they want to do, but it's not going to hurt you either. The worst part about school is actually paying for it and doing the work. But you get what you put in, like, whatever you put in is what you get out. So if you put in the work and you do what you're supposed to do, you get out of school, you try to go get that job or at least use what you learned from school to better yourself or what you want to do, then you should be fine. Like, I went to school and went for graphic design because I wanted to do something along that lines and involve it with my music.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
It's going to end up paying off for me.
Yeah, and that's what you just said right there is very important too, that you get in what you put in. There are a lot of people that think going to college is just, oh, I'm just going to kind of breeze through it, just get the piece of paper and that'll be good, and I don't have to actually, because they think it's just like high school. They think that they can just like cheat off of other people's papers and shit like that and do the same shit, and that they're going to pass college and it's all going to be good. No, not really.
No, you can't do that. There's a reason why you're paying for it. You can't do that.
Exactly. And but the way that it's marketed in high school it's pretty much like it's a done deal that you're going to college. There's no other options. So they think they tell it to you as a thing that you have to do and not an option. So
Yeah.
so all these kids kind of see it as, oh well, I'll just try to get through it and then that'll be it. They don't actually put any kind of work in.
They think they can just breeze on by. High school, you don't have to study. You don't have to do too much. You just go right on in, and that's it. College is like that. You really have to put in the work and do it.
So with all that said, for anyone who knows for sure that they want to kind of pursue music head on, would you recommend going to college, or would you say that it's probably like if they know that they're gonna that they want to just try to do the music thing and that's it, and they don't really want to, like they don't even know what degree they want to do, but people are telling them to just go to college anyway, would you say that's a good move or not really?
That's hard to say and try to give some advice on, because I actually was one of those people that kind of went to school not 100% sure what I wanted to do, and just kind of figured my way out. But college is a good experience because it helps you find yourself and help you figure out what you want to do. I feel like some people that don't go to college or don't really know what to do after high school, they get this feeling of being lost. And I know I kind of understand how that feels, because I wasn't really sure once I graduated from high school what I wanted to do, but I knew college was important. So I would definitely suggest, it depends on what avenue you want to take. If you really are passionate about music and want to do something with music, I would suggest that somebody goes to college and do something involving music, or something that will help benefit them in their music. So maybe, for instance, an artist that raps, they may want to go to college for music business or music management, music law, or something like that. Or they could do something along the lines of what I did. I've always been an artsy kind of crafty person, so I've always liked art. So I knew I wanted to implement my art with music as like all into one thing, into one package. Or somebody could just go to school and strictly just go to school and do engineering or something like that, like music engineering. That's beneficial to them and what they want to do.
Yeah, it can definitely be beneficial,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there's a lot of people that are under the misconception that it's a requirement to go and get a degree in like music business or something like that, or like get a degree in audio engineering to mix, and it's like not. I don't know about that.
No, it's not required. You got to think, most of the people that you listen to on the radio and the people that you see, none of them have gone to college. As you said in the beginning, I'm one of the first ones that you talked to that went to college and finished college and did it. So
Exactly.
a lot of people actually don't go in and go off to college, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. But I would suggest, it just really depends on the person. If you feel like you can get something out of it, then go for it. If you feel like it's not going to benefit you the way that you want it to, then don't waste your time doing it. Don't waste your time and don't waste your money.